clock says it's 6 o'clock. So, good evening, Northern Colorado. This is N0NYY Bart in Evans, Colorado, and I will be net control for this evening's NCARC TechNet. This net meets every Monday night at 6 p.m. on this repeater for the purpose of exchanging information of a technical nature, answering questions, discussing topics, making announcements if need be, and such the like. This is a directed net, and all traffic is requested to go through net control. If there is any emergency traffic this evening, you may interrupt the net by saying break or your call suffix, and we will suspend the net and deal with your traffic and get things handled. And we won't resume the net until you indicate to us that you have completed the necessary communications to resolve the issue. Is there any emergency or priority traffic wishing to use the repeater at this time? Please call net control now. When checking into the net, please give me your call sign alphabetically, N0NYY. Phonetically, November 0, November, Yankee, Yankee. I request that you please use the standard international phonetics. It makes things a little bit easier for everybody, and it's a really good habit to be in, especially when things are a little more stressful than they are tonight. The primary purpose of this net is to answer questions, to provide information, to discuss topics related to ham radio, and some computer stuff too, of course, but mostly ham radio. And I would encourage you, no matter how new you are, to dive in, get your name and your call sign out there, let us know who you are, and meet some people that really like to help out. Oh, and I forgot, during the check-in, your call sign, your name, your call sign alphabetically, call sign phonetically, and your location, please. What town are you in, basically? And if you have any traffic, questions, or topics of discussion, or announcements for the net tonight, I will take check-ins in groups of 3. We will take 3, and we will acknowledge them. If you attempt to check in, and you do not hear me acknowledge your call sign, it's likely that you doubled with someone, and I didn't hear you. Simply try again at the next group of 3. We will start with suffixes beginning with alpha through Mike. 3 in a row. Suffixes alpha through Mike only at this point. Please call net control now.
WA9FBO, Whiskey Alpha 9, Foxtrot Bravo Oscar, Bob in LaPorte, no traffic. Good evening, Bart.
Okay. Delta, Jerry, Loveland, Good Samaritan.
Okay. Derek, I believe in Loveland. Go again, please. Loveland Station. Go again, please.
This is Jerry. Whiskey Alpha 0, Bravo, Foxtrot, Delta.
Wow, my my pen stumbled. I'm having issues. Whiskey Alpha 0, Foxtrot. Finish your suffix for me. I'm sorry.
Bravo, Foxtrot, Delta, Boulder Fire Department. How's that?
Big fancy dinner. Got it. And what was your name, sir? I'm sorry.
Jerry. We live at the Good Samaritan in Loveland.
Got it, Jerry. Thank you for your patience. One more thing about checking in. Please go slow. Bob, please go slow next time. I'm old, I'm grumpy, and I don't write very fast. And my brain is not what it used to be. So, let's see. Net will acknowledge WA9FBO, WA0BFD. Next 3 stations, go ahead.
K0MLG, Kilo 0, Mike, Lima, Golf, Marty, near Wellington, with some traffic.
Kilo, Echo 0, Mike, Echo. Dick, Loveland, and I have a question.
KE0KO, Alpha Echo 0 Kilo Oscar, Brad in Wellington, no traffic.
All right, we'll pause there. I'm going to point out all 3 of you Thank you for slowing down. Very well done. Very well done. K0MLG, KE0ME, AE0KO. Thank you, gentlemen. Next group of 3.
This is N0EMP, November 0, Echo Mike Papa, Greg in Fort Collins, with Debbie, K0DBE, Kilo 0, Delta Bravo Echo. Does that count as 1 check-in or 2?
That counts as 2. Thank you very much. And another one. Well, let's go to the next group. Oh, N0EMP, K0DBE. The next group of 3. Go ahead.
Whiskey Alpha 7, Echo Mike, Ed and Erie, no traffic.
This is Whiskey 0 Alpha Sierra Papa, W0ASP, Terry in Berthoud, with traffic.
This is K0AZA, Kilo 0, Alpha Zulu Alpha, Ron in Fort Collins.
No break there. I would like to acknowledge W7EM, W0ASP, Terry with traffic, and K0AZA. Next group of 3, go ahead. Still Alpha through Mike suffixes at this point.
Alpha Bravo 1 Romeo, AB1R, Eric, Castle Pines. No traffic.
AE07, Alpha Echo 0, Charlie, Foxtrot, Ben, Focal.
Okay, I would like to acknowledge AB1R. Eric, welcome to the net tonight. AE0CF, Ben, good to hear you. And let's open it up to all suffixes. Alpha through Zulu, please call now.
KB0YDN, Kilo Bravo 0, Yankee Delta November. Eric, Mobile, Loveland, no traffic.
This is Mike 6, Victor Alpha Yankee, Kilo Mike 6, Victor Alpha Yankee, Steve in Sedalia. WB5TEX, Whiskey Bravo 5, Tango Echo X-Ray, Dale, Loveland, no traffic.
Okay, we'll break there. I would like to acknowledge KB0YDN, KM6VAY, WB5TEX. Any other check-ins, please call now.
This is K5SGC, Kilo 5 Sierra Golf Charlie. Dave in Fort Collins, no traffic.
Okay, any other check-ins, please call now. All right, if I will accept any check-ins via Echo Link at this time. Echo Link only, please call net control now. All right, hearing nothing from Echo Link, are there any other on-air check-ins? Please call now.
W5VV, Whiskey 5, Victor, Bill in Livermore.
W5VV, thanks Phil for checking in. All right, we will accept late check-ins throughout the night as need be. No problem with that. And K0MLG, go ahead with your traffic, sir.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Marty, K0MLG. A couple of things. One, safety. I have lithium battery packs for charging cell phones that are portable. This particular brand is Lion, like a lion, Lion, and it has lights in it, and it has wireless charging, and they're really great. And I went to charge one last night and I noticed it was kind of wobbling on the countertop, and sure enough, it's starting to swell. So it's not just HT batteries that we've talked about for a couple of years now, but your rechargeable battery packs. Next time you go to charge one up or get it out to use it, just lay it on the counter, do a quick check that it's level or flat, not expanded in any way, right? Next item is the Equinox Marathon coming up September 22nd. If you would like to volunteer your services, if you've never done an event like this, I can pair you up with people that have. It's a great learning experience, and it's a great time, this Equinox Marathon. The finish line area is a lot of fun. We hang out, do a debrief, have pizza from LaPorte Pizza, and a lot of times it's the only time of the year that several of us get to see each other, so it's quite a bit of fun. If you would like to sign up or get more information, you can always call or text 970-219-6768 or email at kc0qok@gmail. Kilo Charlie 0 Quebec Oscar Kilo @gmail.com. Thanks, and back to net. K0 MLG.
Very good, Marty. Let me point out to everyone, especially the new folks, there are two primary tenets of ham radio. One is community service, and the other is furthering ham radio, introducing your friends and stuff. This Equinox Marathon is a major community service. There are lots of things that we try to participate in that are community service. Sometimes it's a race. Sometimes it's a walk or another public event. Sometimes it's a fire. Sometimes it's a storm. You just never know. But get in there and participate. That is the primary goal of ham radio. Anybody have any questions for Marty? Okay, hearing none. Terry, W0ASB, great to hear you, my friend. Go ahead with your traffic.
Thank you, Bart, for running the net. W0ASB here. I would like to point out a confusion that I've had fairly recently, and not just recently, but almost continuously, about what the definition of a balun is. The term is a contraction of a balanced to unbalanced converter. And in many cases, if you're going from a 50 ohm impedance to a 50 ohm impedance, a common mode choke is certainly a balun. But when you're trying to transform impedance from 50 ohms to, say, 600 or 700 ohms for some broadband antennas, or you're doing it downward from a few ohms from a transistor amplifier to a 50 ohm coax, it's not just an impedance choke. I'm looking for opinions. W0ASB, back to net.
And because we have a lot of very new hams, let me make sure I have it. This is N0NYY, net control for this evening's TechNet. For any of the very new hams that might be in this evening, a balanced antenna is like a dipole, two equal legs, or essentially equal legs. An unbalanced antenna is like a ground plane. These are just one example of each. Not to get elaborate here, but there's numerous balanced and unbalanced antennas. A balanced line is like a ladder line, like your old 300 ohm TV twin lead, or the big fat window line that we use for feeding our other dipoles or balanced antennas. Unbalanced line, most common, is a coax, which you have a shield around the outside and a center conductor around the inside, and the shield is commonly grounded at the radio. And so there's a basic explanation of balanced versus unbalanced. And if anyone has further questions on that, feel free to check in. That said, other input for Terry on the balun situation.
N0EMP.
EMP, go ahead.
I would refer Terry or anyone else to the book Transmission Line Transformers by Jerry Sevick. Jerry with a J, J-E-R-R-Y. Sevick, S-E-V-I-C-K. Whiskey 2, Frank Mike India, W2FMI. I have the second edition. I don't know if there's one after that. Let me reset this. My understanding is balun, the word balun, is a contraction, as Terry said, of balanced to unbalanced. And Bart here has given examples of the two types of transmission line. There are also ununs, unbalanced to unbalanced. And many of the devices that hams just call a balun, because that's the word they use for everything, are actually ununs. They go from one unbalanced line to another unbalanced line or antenna. And I think either device, a balun or an unun, can either be a 1-to-1 impedance ratio, meaning it does not transform impedance, or it can be some form of transmission line transformer that transforms impedance, such as from 50 ohms to 600 ohms, or some other. 4-to-1 is a common impedance transformer that you might see as a balun or an unun, and 0 AMP.
Very good information. Any questions or comments with regard to baluns, ununs, and impedance lines? Please call out.
Hey, easier to have some comment?
Go ahead, Ben.
I suppose the main thing is that a balanced signal, it's kind of hard to actually see it. I'm going to turn off my radio. I think the key concept that needs to be to remember is in an unbalanced signal, one of the legs, which is shield, is actually sort of like a reference for at 0 volts, and the other signal is could go positive, negative, relative to the other one. It's kind of hard to, even if I say it on the like verbally, it's kind of hard to explain when you have a 0 versus having any balanced signal, both signals being equal and opposite of the other terminal. That's the key distinction of the two balanced versus unbalanced signal. And that 0 reference is what needs to be retained for an unbalanced signal, and it needs to go away for a balanced signal. I'm not sure how I can make this a little more clear. Anyway, it's easier to TechNet.
Good information, Ben. Thank you. Yes, I would agree that the shield of the coax is essentially 0 volts. The center of the coax is going plus or minus because it's an alternating current at RF frequencies, of course. Whereas with a balanced line, twin lead, for example, if the left lead is plus 50 volts, the right lead is negative 50 volts, they're both AC, but they're 180 degrees out of phase. So the left one's positive when the right one's negative. The right one's positive when the left one's negative. And they go back and forth working against each other, which dramatically reduces loss when the standing wave ratio is higher than it should be. But you can't feed that into most radios. I say most radios, which have an SO239. That's for coax. That is for unbalanced. So your ladder line has to go through a balancing transformer or balun to get to an unbalanced state, so you can have ground on the outside of the shield and the alternating voltage on the inside. So maybe that helps a little bit. These are great explanations that are coming out. Any further information on balanced, unbalanced, and transmission line? And oh, by the way, that book is available on Amazon and cheapbooks.com and several other places. I just looked it up. Typically looks like it's 35 to 60 bucks.
EMP.
Go.
To further confuse everybody, RF propagating through coax can be in either a balanced or unbalanced mode. Instead of referring to voltage on the shield, if you refer to current flow through the coax, when coax is operating in a balanced manner, you have current flowing on the outside of the inner conductor and the inside of the shield. And the current is equal and opposite, so that the magnetic field produced by the inner conductor cancels out the magnetic field in the shield. And there's no current flow on the outside of the shield. There's no RF, and there's no noise pickup from the outside. When things get unbalanced in coax, you also have current flowing on the outside of the coax, which you do not want. And a choke balun, merely wrapping or coiling the coax into a bunch of turns in a circle, or coiling it through a large ferrite core, forces that doesn't. Okay, when it was balanced, you had no net magnetic field because the inner and outer currents, or the current on the outside of the center and the inside of the shield, balanced each other and canceled each other out. In that case, coiling it through a ferrite does nothing because there is no net magnetic field. Let me reset this. If you have an unbalanced condition on your coax, such as connecting to a mismatched antenna or something, you're going to have some RF current on the outside of your shield in addition to the other currents. That portion of the current is not being balanced out by an opposing current, and that does have a magnetic field. And coiling your coax into an inductor, such as an air core coil, or wrapping it through a ferrite core, that additional current on the outside gets choked by the magnetic inductance. And that's why you have what's called a choke balun, which chokes the unbalanced portion of the current on an unbalanced coax. And 0 EMP.
And if you have that current on the outside of the coax, and you do not use a ferrite or a choke balun, you end up with that RF coming right up the coax, right into your radio, gets into your microphone circuit, and many seasoned hams here you will say, you've got RF in the shack. So, go fix it. You don't want that. It will actually damage equipment, and it can hurt you. Any questions or comments on the very simple topic of balanced on and balanced transmission? Terry, any further input?
W0ASP.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm glad I brought up this topic because it is a topic of much confusion to many ham radio operators, and I hope that this discussion has helped to clear any of that confusion.
Had to let the clock finish chiming. Me too. And if you're confused, or if you have questions, anyone is cordially invited to ask anybody that you hear on the net, anybody that you hear on the radio, and it doesn't have to be during TechNet. I remember when Tobin first got his license, every other day, repeater key up, hey, this is, and he would identify and say, I have a question. And there's a lot of people that monitor the repeater a lot. And most of the time, I think somebody is listening. And if you have a question, we want you to get answers. We want you to enjoy the hobby. We don't want it to be a mystery. The more you understand, the more fun you can have, and the more effective you can be at community service and furthering ham radio. This is N0NYY, Bart, net control for this evening's NCARC TechNet. Do we have any other check-ins that would like to check in this evening? Please call net control now.
Kilo Golf 6, Oscar Bravo Charlie, KG6, OBC Justin, mobile, no traffic, just leaving work.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Quebec Victor Mike, Paul in Aurora.
Alpha Echo 3, Tango Bravo, Tom in Wellington.
Okay, I would like to acknowledge KG6OBC, AE3TB. Paul, I got your name, but I had a major brain hiccup when you said your call, and I thought, you know what, I'll just ask for it again. I should know it, but I don't.
No worries, it is Kilo Foxtrot 0, Quebec Victor Mike, KF0, QVM.
QVM acknowledged, got it. Any other check-ins? yourself such that you can hear the repeater as clear as possible, and then freeze in that position, and please try again.
Okay, let's try this. Kilo Foxtrot 0 with India Bravo X-Ray Brian and Greeley. Switch to the house radio.
KF Show IBX, problem solved. Thank you. Any other chickens? Okay. Do we have any other questions or traffic for the net this evening? All right, counting myself, we had 22 check-ins. Thank you all for participating this evening. One other thing that I will suggest and strongly recommend. This is a very easy net. Nobody's life depends on it. It's a good opportunity for people to practice. There are typically 4 or 5 of us that do this all the time. And again, in the interest of performing community service, learning to do net control is very, very important. This net may not be life-threatening or may not pertain to supercritical things, but weather nets and fire nets and event nets most certainly do. There's also the club net, which is what I will call a non-critical net. Both of those nets will allow people to volunteer to do net control. And if you don't do it, you don't learn how to do it, and you certainly don't want to try to learn how to do it when somebody's safety is at risk. So I would encourage all of you new hams and all of you old hams who don't, please get involved in net control. Learn how to do it when it's easy. Somebody experienced will sit beside you and go through it. I'll be happy to sit beside you and go through it the first time you run it. It's great to have a few helpful suggestions. But once you've established your pattern and you've done it a few times, number one, you've helped us all out by participating and volunteering your time. Number two, you have begun to develop your community service skills, and you have made yourselves far more valuable to the ham community if you are an experienced net control operator. Okay, stepping down off the soapbox, are there any other subjects or questions for the net this evening before we close it up? All right, well, my clock shows 18:35. I will officially close the net at this time. I would like to thank each and every one of you for your participation. And there will be a Club Net Wednesday night and another Club Net on Monday following. So jump in and go when you can.
This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, ncarc.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.